Hey scoundrels, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. Hope you're all doing incredibly well and you're having a lovely day. Today we're going to be doing a Kennen guide, similar to the Lulu guide that I did previously on the channel a couple of days ago. What we're going to focus on is the items. We are then going to talk a little bit about the runes. We are then going to look at the leveling priority, and then we will look through each of the abilities. We'll talk about what they do, and then some combos or ways that you can play Kennen in fights and in the game. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. I've had a lot of support for Wild Rift content over the last few days. I'm going to be doing a lot more esports shoutcasting. In fact, tomorrow, I believe I am casting a tournament. I don't know where the link is, though. I'll let you guys know. If I find out the link, I'll put it in the comments down below or in the description. But I'll be casting some of the Assassin Dave Wild Rift Asia Open tournament, just for fun. I'm not, not doing it, not being paid or anything, just doing it for fun because I really want to get into Wild Rift casting. As you guys know, casting is a big part of my life in gaming, so I want to do that more in Wild Rift. And hopefully, as Wild Rift esports starts to develop, I can do that more. So I'll let you guys know when I know when the link for that is. However, like I said, hit the subscribe button if this content is good and you like it. Also, the bell, if you want to hit the bell and get notifications when my videos goes live, that's great. You don't have to, though, because I do publish most days, so you'll be able to just check out the channel whenever you feel you want to, and you'll be able to see new videos. Although, when you do click on the video, it does actually help my video do better, so thank you for that. Also, G2A, thanks for sponsoring G2A. There's a reference link in the description below. So, Kennen, new champion that has come out. Again, one of the 5 Yordles, the second Yordle to be released, and you can play him in a few ways. I haven't tested him much in game yet, so this is mostly theory crafting. And again, this build might develop, it might change. Really, I'm just going based off what I think from League knowledge in terms of builds. And you can play him both AD and AP. Hybrid is just playing the worst of both worlds, and we don't really have that many hybrid items available to us. So you're either going to want to play him AP or you're going to want to play him AD. The AP variant that I like to play, because the items are a little bit different to the old League items that we've got, is going down a Liandry's Rhyalize build path, where you're going to be able to slow people with your abilities and your magic damage, and your ultimate is also going to do a little bit of percentage health damage against the healthier targets, because one of the things that Kennen does struggle with is he's not very good at bursting high HP targets. He's generally quite a low damage mage, and most of his damage is going to be good versus the sort of the squishier targets. So if you're playing Kennen as a mage, either in the Baron lane and potentially in the mid lane, his wave clear might not be good enough for mid lane as we discussed before, but in the Baron lane for sure, then Liandry's into Rhyalize, into Stasis enchant. Now there are 2 enchants that you can consider. You can consider the belt enchant, the one that the Hextech belt that fires you forwards, or you can consider the Stasis enchant. Really depends what you want. The belt's going to give you more engage. It's going to allow you to get into the team fight quicker. The Stasis is going to keep you safer, allowing you to flash into a team fight, activate your ultimate, and just stay safe for a couple of seconds. I prefer Stasis personally. It's up to you how you play it. Then we want to go into Infinity Orb. It helps Kennen execute champions because he doesn't have that much damage, that much burst damage, as I said. Into Rabadons and potentially into Void Staff later on. A very basic, standard build for AP Kennen. It will do you well in most games. If you're playing AP Kennen, I personally like Electrocute just for the laning phase. You can continually pressure out your opponent. With Brutal, just to have that laning phase dominance. Kennen is supposed to be a lane bully. With Regeneration, because you don't have mana, it will always regenerate, or it should always regenerate your HP. I don't think it affects your energy, but it should always regenerate your HP, plus Sweet Tooth. If you don't want to take this, you can take the Hunter Tenacity rune as well. This one. You shouldn't really be getting a hit in the laning phase easily as Kennen. If you're going into a ranged matchup or you're in the mid lane, you might want to take one of the defensive runes like Backbone just to help you survive versus damage. So that is one way that you can play. You can also play AP Kennen with Conqueror. However, what I would say is that if you're going to play Conqueror Kennen, you're better off playing him AD. And Kennen AD can be played in several ways. Honestly, I'm not really sure which is the best AD build path for him, but I think I personally, this looks like a really janky build, I know, but I like the idea of just going into Blade of the Ruined King, into Guardian Angel with Frozen Mallet, which is a very underutilized item. Not many people will build it because its attack damage is quite low. Plus Phantom Dancer. It's like this is a pure split push build, a pure 1v1 build. It's not going to help you win team fights very easily. However, the other AD build that you can consider is Blade of the Ruined King into either Runans or the Rapid Fire Cannon, as you see here, into Infinity Edge and Guardian Angel with a Stasis Enchant 2. This is also fine, and again, Conqueror is the rune that I would select if I'm playing AD Kennen over the Electrocute. Okay, let's go on to his ability maxing priority. Okay, pretty simple when it comes to level priority. You have an AD level priority and an AP level priority. On AD, you're going to want to max your ultimate at all times, obviously, and this is going to be the same for every hero guide or champion guide you read. Ultimate will always take priority. Pretty much all the time anyway. Apart from when we have transforming champions, sometimes that's not the case. I'm not going to go there. Second ability for AD Kennen, your Electrical Surge, then followed by your Thundering Shuriken to reduce the cooldown. It gets the most cooldown reduction, then followed by your Lightning Rush. With AP Kennen, it is Thundering Shuriken into Electrical Surge and then Lightning Rush. Lightning Rush is generally maxed last because it's an ability that you have to get into melee range to use, and it's not something that you're going to use that often on Kennen. Kennen is a ranged mage or a ranged marksman in inverted commas, so keeping your range is of the utmost important, and you want to use the skills that will allow you to do so. You really only want to get into close range when you're using your ultimate, and Lightning Rush generally is a utility spell more so than a damage spell. So yes, that is the leveling priority for Kennen on both AP and AD. Let's jump into the practice mode, talk through some skills and combos. We'll start off with Kennen's passive, Mark of the Storm. Hitting enemies with abilities places a mark on the storm of them for 6 seconds. At 3 stacks, the enemy is stunned for 1.25 seconds and Kennen gains 25 energy back. Stunning an enemy multiple times within 6 seconds reduces the stun to 0.5 seconds. So every stun after the first, within 6 seconds of the first stun, is reduced to 0.5 seconds to make it so that you can't constantly stun lock them, because that would be pretty OP. So I'm going to show you that in action on this dummy over here. Again, just stun, douche, and douche. Stunned. There you go. Easy as you like. Very easy to do, and it combos with Kennen's other abilities. And speaking of Kennen's other abilities, let's talk about his first ability. You just saw it in action there. Thundering Shuriken. Kennen throws a Shuriken dealing 230 magic damage. This is at max level, with 75% AP scaling to the first enemy hit. The cooldown is reduced on each level that you put into it, and the cost of energy goes down as well, the more levels that you put into it also. So on AP Kennen, this is usually the ability that you max first, and you can see just throwing a Shuriken deals some damage to them, and it will apply a Mark of the Storm, and at 3, they will get stunned. Relatively easy, very simple skill shot, not that difficult to work out. Electrical Surge. Every 5th attack does 45 bonus magic damage, 40 plus 60% of your bonus AD and 20% of your bonus AP, and applies a Mark of the Storm. This is the main ability that you'll see that AD Kennens use because it has the ability to harass people through basic attacks alone. Active. Shocks nearby enemies afflicted by a Mark of the Storm already, dealing 165 magic damage plus 80% AP. Okay, so I'll show you that in action now. I've got a basic attack that applies Mark of the Storm. You can see that they've got a Mark of the Storm circling them, and I apply it, and it shocks them. Obviously, they've got this on low cooldown, so I can just keep doing it if I really wanted to. But you'll notice that I cannot use the ability when no one has Mark of the Storm nearby. I apply Mark of the Storm, and again, can continue to shock them, and it will deal magic damage. And again, it will apply another Mark of the Storm, so just be aware that by applying a Mark of the... once you actually deal damage with them, because it's an ability, it will apply another Mark of the Storm. So the real combo that you generally tend to see Kennens do is this. You see them line up a basic attack. Kennen has a glowing basic attack when he has that 5th Shuriken. It applies a Mark of the Storm. You see them apply a Shuriken, and then you stun them with this ability here. You can do it in multiple ways. 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can stun like this and then stun with the Shuriken, but you'll see lots of different ways that people activate it. But that's the little combo that you do with his second ability. His third ability, Lightning Rush. Transform into an electrical ball for 2 seconds, becoming unable to attack, but gaining 100% bonus movement speed and dealing 250 magic damage with an 80% AP scaling to enemies that he passes through. The bonus movement speed is doubled during the first 0.5 seconds, so you get a really big surge of electricity for the first 0.5 seconds, and he gains 70% attack speed for 3 seconds upon exiting Lightning Rush, another one of those abilities that will help AD Kennen, especially when either chasing someone down or kiting away. And he gains 40 energy when Lightning Rush first damages an enemy, and it deals 50% damage to minions. And again, the cooldown goes down. The cooldown also goes down on Electrical Surge, which is why you'll see AD Kennens max this first, because it is the ability that they can combo with their basic attacks most often. So I'll show you Lightning Rush in action. Pretty simple. You can see the little area around Kennen. That's the area that he deals damage to enemies. And you'll see if I go round, it won't deal it, but then I'll jump in and it will deal it. And again, damaging an enemy with it applies Mark of the Storm. You can only apply Mark of the Storm once an enemy has already been afflicted. But again, a very common combo that you'll see Kennens do is they'll mark you, they'll dive in, and they'll stun you like this. And that's how they will look to get a trade-off, especially AP Kennens when they're looking to go all in. Okay, finally, Slicing Maelstrom. Summons a storm that grants Kennen 60 armor and magic resist, so you get a huge burst of resistances when you're using this ability, and deals 105 magic damage with a 20% AP every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. So you're going to get 105 magic damage with 20% AP scaling, dealt 6 times within Kennen's ultimate, and every single single time this ability applies damage, it also applies a Mark of the Storm. Each subsequent bolt against the same target deals 10% increased damage, not decreased damage, increased damage. And again, leveling this up grants you those resistances, but it also reduces the cooldown and increases the bane damage. It will only apply, sorry, I didn't read the end bit. It'll only apply 3 marks of the storm to a single target. So if you attack them, you get hit 6 times, you'll only get 3 marks of the storm. So once they have been afflicted by 3 marks of the storm, then you're not going to be able to apply any more with this particular ability. But it will technically apply 6 separate instances of Marks of the Storm over the course of a team fight, depending on how many enemies have been afflicted by the ability previously. So let's see this ability in action. And again, I'm going to show you it just in this situation here. You often find it when there's like a Baron fight or something. You just dive in and boom! Huge damage in an area, perfectly circled in the Baron pit, by the way, which is what makes Kennen so strong in teamfight situations in these objectives, is his ability to do that. So I did talk a little bit about how Zhonya's and the Hextech belt can be particularly useful for you. So I'm going to show you Zhonya's now. One of the most common things you'll see Kennens do is rush in, use this, and then Zhonya's. Whilst Zhonya's is active, your ultimate is still active. So you can actually Zhonya's whilst you're using your ultimate, and it's what keeps you safe in the middle of a team fight. It's a very basic combo. Now I'm going to show you the Hextech belt in action. Rupert fell over while I was recording, and he got a bit upset, so he's going to join me here. One of the other things that you can do is the Proto Belt enchant. I call it Hextech Belt because that's what it's called in League PC, but the Proto Belt enchant is a very easy thing to do with Kennen. This is why there is a distinct choice between the two of them. I personally prefer Stasis, but what you can do is you can Lightning Rush and then Belt and get a surprise ultimate off. Pretty simple to do. Again, Belt, ult, like this. It's just a way of getting an extra dash out of your kit. What you'll see a lot of Kennens do is they'll look for a flank opportunity with this, and then they'll belt and then ult. Really, really simple way to use the 2 enchants on your boots and make them work with Kennen. Okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the more in-depth mechanics of Kennen, because whilst it might seem that he's a relatively simple champion, one of the most important things is using his ultimate effectively. I'm going to show you what his ultimate does now. I've shown it to you before, but I want you to look to how the marks are applied. Remember, it can only apply 3 marks to a single target throughout its duration. So if you don't use any of your other abilities whilst using your ultimate, this is what happens. 1, 2, 3, stunned. No more marks get applied for the duration. And then you've finished using your ultimate. The team that you've used your ultimate on have got 0 marks applied to them, and Slicing Maelstrom is the best way to apply marks to the most amount of people possible. So you don't want to go into a team fight and use Slicing Maelstrom and only apply 3 marks and stun, and then have them apply no marks following, because it becomes more difficult to chase them down and get a second stun, which can be the difference maker in killing the AD carry or a key target on the enemy team. So what you're going to want to do when you're using your Slicing Maelstrom is use any of your other abilities. I would recommend saving your second ability because it's the best way to apply the most number of marks within the team. But I'm going to show you now. You activate this and immediately activate your second ability, and then look. There is at least 1 target that you can get a second stun on, because you have options for which targets have a mark left on them. I'm going to show you again. Boom. Immediately activate my second ability, and look. There are now 3 targets with 1 Mark of the Storm on them, and I can follow up and get a stun on a second target relatively easily. The other way that you can do this is activate this and then activate your Electrical Surge, and again, it will do the same thing. There are marks that now have... there are now dummies that have marks applied to them, and the other way that you can do it, I'm just going to wait for these marks to drop off, is single target focus, and you can get 1 on an enemy that you want to focus down like this. But again, I would say the best way and the most damage efficient way is using your second ability. And then you can even use your electrical rush to ensure that you get 2 stacks on them as well at the same time whilst they're currently incapacitated. It's actually a really good way to get 2 stacks on them, because then you can follow up with either a basic attack or a shuriken and look for that second stun on a key target. That is one of the more important things to note about Kennen. It's not simply just hit my ultimate and go. There is actually some nuance in the way that you should be using your ultimate in teamfight situations. So I'm hoping that helps you understand Kennen in greater depth. Good luck on the Rift, and I will see you there. Oh, and if you like the content, feel free to like and subscribe.